Hey man, so here's a question for you today. What if the way that you're building your business is quietly breaking your relationship? For those of you that don't know, I'm a coach, so I do a lot of coaching for a living, do a lot of speaking. I'm speaking in Liverpool at the time of doing this event today. And I used to do a lot of coaching one-to-one, and I'll never forget a particular day where I had let's just say one of the phases of my business, I'd achieved what I would consider to be the dream. So meaning I had a lot of one-to-one clients. I had a particular day, I think I had 7 one-to-one clients in a row. Now back then, I didn't know what I didn't know about business. So for me, that was the dream, right? Anybody that's in coaching knows that that's not the case, but back then for me, that was the dream. 7 clients in a row, in a day, this is great. And that evening, that particular evening of that particular day, me and Sati, my wife, we were going out for dinner. Now, Sati around session 5 started to get ready, obviously. And I, at the end of session 6, I think, went into our bedroom. She was getting ready, and I basically gave her the body language of, I'm tired. Now, she didn't need me to spell it out to her. She knew I was tired because I'd just delivered 6 coaching sessions in a row. And without me even saying a word, she said, let's do dinner another night. To which I think I said something like, thanks, babe, I really appreciate that. I love you. So basically gave her loads of praise for being flexible, right? So she was like, started to get undressed from getting ready to go out. I went back to the room, I did session 7, I came back after session 7, went in our bedroom, and she was on the edge of the bed crying. To which I said, why are you crying? And she said, how much longer is this going to go on? And I said, what do you mean? And she said, how much longer am I going to get your leftovers? And for me, that was a big lesson, because it made me realize that one-to-one coaching was not scalable. The great poet Mike Tyson has a saying, which is, everyone's got a plan till I punch them in the face. And that for me was a punch in the face, because it made me realize that if your business is reliant on you working for you to earn, you don't have a business, you have a job. But also, if it relies on you delivering and expending a lot of energy, it's risky, because you may go home and you might not have more energy to give. You might be genuinely tired. Which brings me to some points that I want to kind of share with you for this particular video. The first point I want to talk to you about is this concept of bringing performance home, not presence. So I do a lot of public speaking now for a living. I speak on stages all around the country. Very privileged to get to do what I do. Very grateful that once upon a time I was a kid in an audience, and I said I would love to be able to do that, and now I get to do it every week, and I'm so grateful that I get to do it. But there are times, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend like this is a thing that I've resolved fully. There are times where I bring home performance and not presence. So what do I mean by that? What I mean is I bring home work miles. Now the first thing I do is I lower my standards at home. So what that means is I do think that it's normal for a man, stereotypically, to go home after work, after a long day at work, and just kind of, that's normal. The problem is that isn't gonna cut it if you want a great marriage. It's just not. So if you bring home performance and not presence, that's gonna have a really bad impact on your relationship. Because I know, because it has, and still does, but to a lesser extent, can have that on my marriage. Because I know if I deliver a seminar and I'm like, hey, I'm Mr. fucking Seminar. And at these events, the problem we've got, the challenge we've got is you get people wanting photos and all kinds of nonsense and stuff, right? Not nonsense, but people want photos and stuff because they've seen me on stage and now they see me as some fucking guru, which I'm not. But that's how they see me, right? So if I take that home, I'm the fucking guru, straight away my wife's like, you ain't no fucking guru. Take the fucking bins out. And actually, we have become much better at that. Right, I love it. It's a running joke now that when I get home from an event, Sati will leave rubbish outside the front door for me to put in the wheelie bin. It's almost become a re-anchoring, like, right, you're home now, well done, pat on the back, get back to your fucking real job, changing nappies and putting the bins out. And I love it, I think it's great. But there was a time where I really didn't. There was a time where if I got home and didn't get the I want your autograph energy from Sati, I'd be like, what the fuck's going on? My nervous system would be like, I've just given my heart and soul to this audience. Why am I not getting? And Sati would rightly be like, well, where's my applause? While I've been holding down the fort and the kids, what do you want? You want a medal for going out and working? And she would almost joke, she'd say, all you do is stand up there and talk. And she's not wrong, by the way, because that is all I really do. And by the way, what I mean is I have a great time and I really enjoy it. But first point, really important, is that when you come home to your wife or your partner, don't bring performance home. Hey, I'm the man, I've just made this deal happen. They don't fucking care, right? They do not care. So don't bring that home. You've got to bring presence home. Be there. Be present. Switch off your work mode. They don't care about that. They care about presence with a C, E, not with a T, right? So don't be the one that also does the thing that I used to do, which is bring flowers and gifts home and then bring low performance, because that won't cut it either, just so you know. The second point is that I think a lot of mistakes married men and men in relationships, entrepreneurial men make, and I make this too, is they think that providing is enough. They think that providing is enough. Just goes back to what I just said about if you think bringing flowers and gifts home is enough and that will get you points in the relationship, it won't. Now, if you know anything about love languages, your partner may love gifts, right? She may. But what she really wants is your presence, is your affection. And by presence and affection, what I've also come to learn is that doesn't mean you smother her with cuddles. Like in my house, if I get home and I say to Sati, right, go and take yourself out for an hour, go and have a walk at the field, I'll bath the kids, I'll sort them out. I don't want you home for at least 45 to 50 minutes, at least an hour, go and have a walk. You've been home all day with them, go and have time for you. That's what that means by you think that providing is enough. You think that just providing an income, just paying the bills is enough for a great marriage. It's not. If it was, there wouldn't be relationships. Like I'm not going to mention the names, obviously, but I know a significant amount of entrepreneurs, men, who are on their second or third or whatever marriage. And I'm not saying it's because of the business that the relationship didn't work. I'm not saying that, right? I don't know the marriage. I'm not going to pretend like I do. But I do think it's interesting and it's worth having a curiosity. Like, I wonder if the relationship broke down because of the business and because of the way the business was being built, meaning they're on such an aggressive build that it cost them that, maybe. Right? Do we know for certain? No, but I think it's worth having a curiosity about. Next one is around this concept of avoiding emotional responsibility. Me and Sati had a bad argument yesterday, and I'm not proud of it, especially because one of my old self, according to Joe Dispenza's work, he talks about old self, new self. One of my old traits, patterns of behaviour, which is still lingering, is if me and Sati have an argument, I revert to name calling. And the reason I revert to name calling is because my mum did it. Right? Like, not bagging out my mum or anything, but it's true, right? You model your caregivers, right? My mum would name call when we had arguments, so I name call when I have an argument. If I get stressed and my central nervous system gets dysregulated, I name call, and I say things that I'm really not proud of. And I did that a bit yesterday. I'm not going to pretend like I didn't. But what I do, which I think perhaps I didn't used to, and some men maybe don't, is avoid emotional responsibility. So I can take responsibility for everything that I did yesterday, everything that I said yesterday. And one of the things I've realized, and this may be helpful for you, is one of the things me and Sati are constantly working on is becoming better at arguing. Now I know that may sound weird, but what I mean by becoming better at arguing is having certain like rules that we won't violate and won't break. And one of my rules that I broke yesterday was the name calling, and I'm aware of that I violated that rule. And we repaired yesterday, but I'm very aware, and I feel in my body a sadness, not of the argument, but me violating a rule that I had around name calling, that I said that would be something that would stop, and it didn't. Yesterday it came out. So one of the things that I observed about us arguing yesterday, and maybe you can relate if you've had this experience yourself, is I think there are levels to arguing. So like level one is there's a rupture, right? And there's a difference of opinion about something. Level two is it's now escalated to both people now are becoming dysregulated. Level three is voices are raised, swearing, name calling. Clearly now both are off. Both human beings, both parties are offline and have gone into World War Z fucking zombie mode, right? Where it's like and you just like there's no sense. It's just become now I'm going to defend, and the weapons are out, and it's not even that we're attacking. Well, it is, but it's more that there's a defence. Because for me, when I go into an argument, when I go level 3, I go defend. That's what I do. I don't go attack so much. I'm more defend. And I know that attack and defence are one of the same thing, but I'm mainly going to defend. So one of the things that we're becoming aware of is it's not about not arguing, because I used to have this thing like, oh, if you argue, that's bad. And I've realised it's not. It's about not letting it get to level 2 or 3, or at least not letting it get to level 3. So for me, one of the things that we're trying as a couple is this concept called timeout. So timeout is what that means is, if you think about what timeout means, like in terms of like this, right? Timeout, if you're in a marriage and you get into an argument, timeout is one person, whichever one has yet to go into zombie mode, meaning level 3, where you're angry, you're dysregulated, you've gone offline, you're shouting the odds, defending your corner, pointing the finger, right? Whoever isn't there yet, because you don't get there at the same time, one of you will go to level 3 and the other one's in level 2, and then the one in level 3 is like, fuck you, right? And then the other one in level 2 is like, no, fuck you, level 3, right? Before the person gets to level 3, or ideally level 2, they go, I need a timeout. And maybe even say something like, I can see where this is heading, let's call a timeout. I can see where this is heading, I need a timeout. And then whoever catches it first takes themselves away and goes and breathes. Goes and does deep diaphragmatic breath work, deep in for 6, hold for 4, out for 6. in for 6, hold for 4, out for 6. Do that for 10 minutes and then just wait, right? Because you could go and resolve, but there's no point. You just need to get yourself back online, and then you have to wait for them to go back online. Because what often happens is, what happened with us yesterday is I was in level 1, Sati was kind of in level 2, and I said, I'm really sorry for how I reacted. I understand you were thinking of me, blah, blah, blah. And then she, instead of her being like, yeah, thanks, I really appreciate that, love you, blah, 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 let's move on from it. She was like, yeah, I'm still angry, right? So I was like, what are you fucking angry about? I've just apologized. So rather than me really apologizing, I then am like, oh, I'm defensive now because I've been attacked even though I've put my weapon down. Which is why I feel if you're at level 1, you should always just take a time out. Like always, if possible. Now you might be like, well, what if we're out and about and we've got the kids? Just, if you're at a zoo and you're starting to have an argument, it's like, and you've got 2 kids, just say to one of them, who wants to go and get ice cream? You take them, and while you're standing in the line getting ice cream, you take your time out. But either way, you've got to take a time out. Because when your nervous system, what happens in an argument more often than not is your central nervous system becomes dysregulated and your conscious mind goes offline. And all of a sudden, it's like this wave of heat over your body, and you straight away are, in my case, 10 years old in my bedroom and my mum's shouting at me. And I'm like, I've just got to fucking defend my position here. But we're not 10 years old in our bedroom. We're in a grown relationship that needs repair and needs healing and needs tenderness and needs love. Because otherwise you're not going to have all the things you really want, which is the connection and the fun and the intimacy and all that kind of stuff. But in that moment, that's not going to happen, right? Unless you call a timeout. So calling a timeout, taking that emotional responsibility, and is massive, really, really important. Now, a lot of what we're talking about here in this video, we're intellectualizing something which is very. It doesn't need knowledge. So what do I mean? Well, time of this video, we've got an event coming up on Zoom, live virtual event specifically for men called Reset. And that event, we're going to do a combination of things. One, we're going to do what we call a men's group, where we're going to just be open and talk in a safe space. 2, we're going to show you how to regulate your nervous system in a way that helps you in a situation that maybe you're triggered, especially with your partner, help you to create the right state to deal with that. And 3 is meditation, which is really going to help you to really just have a clearer, calmer mind, make better conscious choices and decisions in every area of your life. And then what we're also going to do is we're going to work out on building a plan for you, for your business, your marriage, for your relationships, for your health, so that by the end of the day, you will leave and you'll be clear about what it is that you need to do moving forward in all those areas, so that you're not just succeeding in one, you're succeeding in all of them. So somewhere around the video, there should be a link for the event. If it's not there, just comment below or send me a message, and I'd love to have you at the event. So that's it for now. That's it for this one. See you on the next one. See you soon. Bye.